Did you guys really think Robert Downey Jr. was done with Marvel after Iron Man died? While James Gunn and the others were busy building their own universe, Marvel took the biggest gamble in cinema history by bringing back their absolute biggest star. And get this, not as a hero, but as Doctor Doom, the most terrifying and genius villain in comic history. RDJ's return is about to completely flip the MCU on its head. And in this video, I'm going to break down exactly how this move changes everything. What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. Hope you guys are doing awesome. Man, when Kevin Feige brought Robert Downey Jr. out on that Comic-Con stage back in late 2024, the internet literally broke. Nobody saw it coming. The exact guy who kicked off the MCU as Iron Man is now back to destroy it. But why did Marvel pull this trigger? Let's be real. After the whole Jonathan Majors situation and dropping Kang the Conqueror, Marvel was stuck in a massive creative rut. Their projects were flopping one after another. They desperately needed a massive trump card, something that brings back that sweet nostalgia, but also guarantees a terrifying villain for the next Avengers. And honestly, who better than RDJ? But look, this isn't just a cheap cash grab to sell movie tickets. This casting completely changes the fabric of the multiverse. So, before we jump into part 2 and break down who RDJ's Doctor Doom actually is and where he comes from, make sure to smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and drop a comment below. What went through your mind the exact moment he pulled off that mask and you saw Robert's face? Alright guys, now for the million-dollar question that's breaking every fan's brain right now. Who is this Doctor Doom? How on earth does he look exactly like our Tony Stark? To answer that, we've got 3 insane theories that Marvel is probably looking at. Theory number 1, which a lot of comic heads are pointing to, comes straight from the infamous Iron Man comics. In this one, we're dealing with a Tony Stark from an alternate universe. A universe where, instead of becoming a hero, something tragic happens to him. He goes down a dark path, learns sorcery, and becomes the most villainous threat alive, Doctor Doom. This means we'd be getting a dark, ruthless, unredeemed version of Tony Stark. Theory number 2, which a lot of people think makes more sense, is that this guy isn't Tony Stark at all. Like, his name is literally Victor Von Doom. He was born in a completely different universe, and he's his own person. But bad luck for the Avengers. He just happens to be a doppelganger who looks exactly like the Tony Stark we know. The multiverse wide open for this, just like we saw different versions of Spider-Man or Doctor Strange having different faces. Someone else in another universe can totally look exactly like Robert Downey Jr. And then there's theory number 3, which is by far the darkest. The idea is that the real Doctor Doom finds out about the multiverse and realizes that Tony Stark was the ultimate savior of the main universe. So, to infiltrate their timeline and tear the Avengers apart from the inside, he uses magic or tech to intentionally disguise himself as Tony Stark, just to weaponize their grief and screw with their heads. Any of these theories would give Marvel some seriously insane storytelling potential. Which one do you guys think is actually going to happen? Let me know in the comments. Alright guys, let's get into the meat and potatoes of this video. Why on earth is Doctor Doom, played by Robert Downey Jr., such a massive deal? And why do we keep saying this character is going to change absolutely everything? To really get this, you first need to understand how Doctor Doom is totally different from any previous Marvel villain, especially a titan like Thanos. Look, Thanos was a mad titan with a very specific goal. He wanted to wipe out half the universe so resources could last for the other half. But to pull that off, Thanos desperately needed the Infinity Stones. Without them, he was basically just a really strong warrior with a massive army. Or look at Kang the Conqueror, who is all about future tech and time travel. But Doctor Doom? Doom is literally the whole package. The Avengers' biggest nightmare when it comes to Doctor Doom is that this guy is the smartest human on Earth. Period. His brain is on par with, or honestly even higher than, Tony Stark and Reed Richards. He's the ultimate master of tech, and the armor he built for himself easily rivals Iron Man's advanced suits, and in some ways it's even stronger. But it doesn't stop there. Tony Stark was just a tech genius, but Victor Von Doom has also mastered black magic to the highest level. He's so advanced in sorcery that in the comics, he was literally a candidate for the title of Sorcerer Supreme. We're talking Doctor Strange level here. Just picture that. A villain who has the most advanced tech in one hand and the darkest, most powerful cosmic magic in the other. This mix of science and sorcery is something the Avengers have literally never faced in their entire history, and they have zero formula to beat it. But guys, Doom being OP isn't just about his magic and tech. Thanos had an army of alien creatures, sure, but Doctor Doom is literally the king and dictator of an actual country called Latveria. This means he's got diplomatic immunity, his own sovereign military, and politically he's so smart and powerful that the heroes can't just barge into his country whenever they feel like it. On top of that, he's got an entire army of self-made robots called Doombots that look exactly like him. Sometimes the Avengers think they're finally fighting Doom himself, only to realize they just beat up one of his metal decoys. Talk about completely messing with the heroes' heads. Now, put all of that next to his motives and psychology. Thanos was an ideological villain, but Doctor Doom? Doom is insanely arrogant, selfish, and power-hungry, but the craziest part is he genuinely believes that the only way to save the world from total destruction is for him to become the king and god of the entire universe, meaning he doesn't see himself as the bad guy. In his head, he's making the ultimate sacrifice to save everyone. And those kinds of villains, the ones who believe they are 100% in the right, are by far the most terrifying. And now, Marvel has gone ahead and thrown Robert Downey Jr. into the shoes of this absolute monster. This means we're going to be dealing with a villain who can mind-fuck Reed Richards, shut down Doctor Strange's magic, and straight up obliterate every single member of the Avengers. This guy completely breaks the power scale in the MCU, and that's exactly why we're saying nothing will ever be the same once he steps in. But guys, let's move past the physical and magical powers of Doctor Doom for a second and talk about the one thing that makes this casting Marvel's ultimate double-edged sword. The most hype, dramatic, and honestly heartbreaking part of the next two Avengers movies is going to be the emotional clash between our heroes and this villain. Why? Because this villain looks exactly like Tony Stark. Just put yourself in the Avengers' shoes. Tony Stark wasn't just a hero to this world. He was the literal backbone, the savior, and the mentor of the entire cinematic universe. Tony was the guy who sacrificed his own life in Endgame to bring half the universe back.
Now, imagine our heroes gearing up to fight the biggest threat in the multiverse. This terrifying villain's mask comes off, and they're staring right at Robert Downey Jr.'s face. We're talking a total psychological meltdown for every single person on the team. First off, think about Peter Parker, Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Peter and Tony's relationship was basically father and son. Tony was the one who brought Peter into the big leagues, built his suits, and his death absolutely destroyed Peter. Now, Peter has to stand across from someone who looks, sounds, and walks exactly like his father figure, except his eyes are full of pure ruthlessness and black magic. How is Peter supposed to throw a punch at that face? How can he fight with everything he's got without his hands shaking? Before he even uses a single spell or piece of tech, Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom will completely shatter Spider-Man's heart and spirit with just one look. And it's not just Peter Parker. Look at James Rhodes, War Machine. Rhodey was Tony Stark's absolute best friend, the guy who stood by Tony's side for years through every war and was right there with him in his final seconds. How is Rhodey supposed to process this reality? Or what about characters like Thor and Bruce Banner, who spent years teaming up and making memories with Tony? This showdown is going to completely paralyze the Avengers' minds. And here's the incredibly dark part. If the storyline reveals that Robert Downey Jr.'s Doctor Doom actually knows about this resemblance, he could easily weaponize it as a dirty psychological play. He's way too smart to pass up on a weakness like that. Doom could intentionally take off his mask right in front of them, talk to them with that signature Tony Stark swagger, and systematically break the Avengers down by messing with their heads. Instead of focusing on saving the world, they'll be caught up wondering, is there a way to bring Tony back? Or is this actually him? And that single doubt will ruin every single one of their plans. Basically, by casting Robert Downey Jr., Marvel has started the war in the heroes' heads before anyone even steps onto the battlefield. Instead of just giving us another heavy-hitting villain like Thanos, this casting adds a heavy, breathtaking drama to the story that could literally tear the Avengers apart from the inside. Now do you get why I keep saying this decision changes everything? Alright guys, now that we know how OP Doctor Doom is and the massive psychological toll he's going to take on the Avengers, let's dive into his grand ultimate plan, the one thing that ties all the recent Marvel phases together, Avengers Doomsday and Avengers Secret Wars. In the 2015 masterpiece Secret Wars comic book series written by Jonathan Hickman, we run into a phenomenon called incursions, which is basically parallel universes colliding into each other. In this storyline, the multiverse is being wiped out piece by piece, and timelines are crashing and shattering. Earth's heroes, including Reed Richards and the rest of the crew, try everything they can, but fail to stop the total destruction of reality. But guess who actually pulls it off? Yup, Dr. Doom. Using his insane intellect and straight up stealing the power of cosmic entities, known as the Beyonders, Doom steps in right at the exact moment all realities are collapsing. He grabs the remaining chunks of different universes and stitches them together like a patchwork quilt. He creates a brand new singular planet called Battleworld. In this new world, the multiverse is gone. There's only this one planet where different variants of heroes and villains from parallel universes are forced to live side by side.
But here's the terrifying catch. This planet has a king who has crowned himself God. Yes, guys, by stealing these cosmic powers, Victor Von Doom becomes God Emperor Doom. In this new world of Battleworld, everyone is forced to worship Doom as their one and only god. He becomes so insanely powerful that he can literally turn Thanos into dust with the flick of his wrist, or render the Infinity Stones completely useless. He officially reaches the absolute highest power level in all of Marvel history. Now just imagine how Marvel is going to translate this epic storyline onto the big screen. With Robert Downey Jr. playing the part, we're about to see a man who once saved the universe with the Infinity Gauntlet, but is now wielding a power far beyond the gauntlet, holding the entire multiverse under his thumb. Marvel wants to show us that Secret Wars isn't just some basic run-of-the-mill battle between heroes and villains. It's a fight for the survival of the last remaining pieces of human civilization, all while the fate of everything rests in the hands of a guy whose face reminds everyone of Earth 616's most selfless hero. RDJ's Dr. Doom completely throws out the rulebook by creating Battleworld. At this point, it's not even about stopping him from destroying the timeline anymore, because the timelines are already gone. Now the heroes have to find a way to rip that power away from this self-proclaimed god and rebuild the multiverse from scratch, which seems pretty much impossible, and this entire path is going to push the Marvel Universe to a point where, after that, we'll probably witness a total reboot and the birth of a completely brand new Marvel Universe. In the end, guys, we reach the final part and the most important question we need to ask ourselves. Is this move by Marvel and giving the role of Dr. Doom to Robert Downey Jr. going to be an absolute masterpiece? Or is it just a dirty play with nostalgia to make more cash? Let's be real here. Marvel has taken an incredibly dangerous risk with this move. On one hand, Robert Downey Jr., with his unmatched acting talent and that specific charisma he has, can definitely create one of the most fascinating and grounded villains in cinema history. His psychological clash with the heroes and that heavy dramatic tone he adds to the story has the potential to elevate the next two Avengers movies to the rank of masterpieces like Infinity War. But on the other hand, there's a massive danger too. If Marvel can't bring a solid and logical story reason for this face resemblance, or if they just want to use Robert's popularity to cover up their weak script, it will officially hurt the grandeur of Tony Stark's character and his precious legacy, and it'll also ruin the legendary character of Dr. Doom. Die-hard comic fans have been waiting for years to see a real, imposing Victor Von Doom on the big screen, and they absolutely don't want to feel like they're just watching a customized or evil version of Tony Stark. Everything depends on the genius of the Russo brothers in directing and the Marvel writers on how they're going to walk this tightrope. One thing that can be said with absolute certainty is that the Marvel Universe will never be the same after these movies come out. Whether this decision becomes a cinematic masterpiece or a total flop, the return of Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom is going to divide the history of the MCU into two eras, before and after. The Avengers are now facing a threat who knows magic, is the smartest brain in the multiverse, and his face has created a massive mind lock for them. Now it's your turn to tell me your opinion. Do you think Marvel has gone back to its golden days with this move, or was this just a marketing stunt out of desperation? Who do you think is going to land the final blow on Robert Downey Jr.'s Dr. Doom in the ultimate battle? Spider-Man or Reed Richards? Write down your thoughts nicely in the comments, and I'll read and reply to every single one of them. Thank you so much for staying with me until the end of this video. If you enjoyed this analysis and these theories, make sure to like the video, send it to your Marvel fan friends, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon so you don't miss our next videos. Until another awesome video, much love, bye for now.